I'm looking at the stock price reaction right now, down about 12% after hours trading, and the only negative headline I can see is that its full year revenue forecast, it now sees it above $2.21 billion. Previously, it had anticipated $2.19 to $2.24 billion. You take the midpoint of that forecast, it's $2.215 billion. So it's basically giving a more narrow version of the same revenue forecast. Is this just disappointment that Palantir didn't raise its forecast?
I mean, look, when a stock is trading at, 18, 20 times sales, 13 to 15% growth is just not going to cut it, because investors are going to look at your valuation multiple relative to growth. Mm-hmm. There are a number of software companies out there that are growing 35, 40%. Snowflake, which competes directly with Palantir. Why would you pay up 18 to 20 times sales when a company is going 13 to 15%? And with Palantir specifically, they gave a $4 billion revenue target by 2025. What would it take to get there from here to $4 billion? They have to grow at 30% plus. Right now, they're growing at 13 to 15%. Yeah. How do they grow at 30% plus over the next 2 years when the IT environment is getting tougher?
Yeah, so growth in the teens versus the expected growth at the 30% range. Palantir obviously tied to AI. We know that NVIDIA makes chips that do AI, as Romain was just telling us. What does Palantir do with AI specifically?
Well, so they help you create a data lake. And the product was really, pioneered around leveraging location data, large amounts of data that's out there to help you solve for unique cases like cybersecurity, like terrorism. And I think what they're trying to do is to develop a general product. The problem they're facing is the hyperscalers are all competing in this market. So how could you compete with the likes of Microsoft, AWS, and Google when they're also selling the same solutions to the enterprise? So most of Palantir's customers are government customers.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. They can't, expand to commercial side.
Well, that's what I'm curious about, Mandeep, because, I mean, when they first came public, there was a lot of talk about them being reliant on the government. We know that they have said they're trying to broaden out to more corporate clients here. But what do they offer that is unique versus, say, a larger, bigger traditional software company?
Yeah, so they have unique visualization capabilities that I would say your hyperscalers probably don't do a very good job of. They're big into geospatial analytics. Now think of all the location data that companies are harnessing.
Okay.
But still, how do you develop products around it that you can scale to, thousands of customers? Their entire customer base is 400 customers.
Well, that's what I mean. Who needs that? I mean, we know the government needs that because they want to spy on everyone. But I mean, how many? Let's just call it what it is. I know we dance around the issue as to what Palantir did. I'm not being facetious at all. This is what they do, and we need to call it that. And that's fine. It's a legitimate business. But if you're trying to value it, I mean, once you sell to the U.S., once you sell to our allies and other folks out there, what's left? How many corporations need this?
Well, so the other side of the argument is because they sell something that, intellectual and really so unique that the government needs it, guess what? The large commercial enterprises may be interested in that kind of stuff too, because they care about their intellectual property. They would want to deploy such a solution to make sure, their intellectual property isn't getting stolen. So there is a case to be made that, large enterprises in the US and abroad may need it. The problem they're having is they need a sales force. And that means, their operating income isn't going to look very nice, because that's the only way you can sell software is by hiring salespeople.